What's up, man?
Oh, living the dream, man. Post 1.0, it's beautiful servers, perfect bazaar, no issues whatsoever. It's great.
I believe it.
I am McFluffin. I've been playing this game since late alpha, right for max roll. I also played D4 as well. I'm right for max roll for that, but this is the game I've been playing for the last 4 years and making content on. It's the game I kind of fell in love with a long time ago and still love.
Yeah. I've watched a lot of your stuff even before you became a Maxroll member, yeah. I remember back in the day.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So, pretty cool stuff. I guess we could talk about the Maxroll real quick before we dive into the trade stuff as well. How was your experience with Maxroll? Was it fun so far?
Yeah, it's the Maxroll team they're awesome. Like the people on Maxroll, you never really, I don't know. I'm a little bit cynical about that. Like I expect there's going to be people that I really maybe don't get along with. Like it's just true of like any dynamics, any social dynamics. For whatever reason, it hasn't been true at Maxroll. Like everybody's amazing. The big guys are, I don't know. When you think about like big creators, I always kind of got the sense that like I wouldn't matter to them, and it's not like a bad thing. I'm just a small creator, but that was never the case.
Yeah, never.
Like Rex, Woody, those guys are insanely cool. All the big guys are just like they're there to help and they want to talk to you. And like I don't know, it's just kind of surreal and not the experience I expected. And also like I don't know, when I started making content, I didn't see myself in a position where like Rex and Woody are people I could just like DM if I wanted to, and they just talk to me. Like it's just amazing to me.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's weird because when you're on the outside, you kind of think about numbers all the time. You're like, oh, this guy is a big shot. He has 200k YouTube subs, and this guy only has 3k. So they're in a completely different realm. But in reality, everybody kind of like just chats with each other, right? Everybody's like in the same realm. There's no like, we don't see it like that, right? There's no no difference.
It's super cool. Like they just seem, they see you as a knowledgeable person who's a part of the team, and you're there for a reason. There's a reason that you're brought in because you know what you're talking about, and that's all they need, and they want to help.
Exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. How is it to, I don't know, have your game finally be released? Like obviously I started PoE way late, right? Like 2.5 years ago, so I never had like a game release, which is my main game or anything like that. How was that? Must have been crazy after all the work, right?
It's pretty surreal for sure, especially with all the work going in, like the month leading up to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, to play a game for 4 years, it was funny. I was looking at the Steam DB charts today, and I was looking back historically, and like we had the 40,000.9, but before that, like the top concurrent player count was like 8,000.
Yeah.
And I remember being super stoked about like hitting 8,000-9,000 or something like that back like 2-3 years ago, and here we are now. The game can't even handle the number of players. There was like 260,000 concurrent earlier this morning. Like it's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like also the stream must have gone like blown up, right, as well?
Yeah, no, it's doing well.
Huge.
YouTube as well, because I put up so many videos. I have more than half of my total views over my entire time on YouTube, and I've been on for like 4 years. Just this month, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Now that we have a little bit more idea what we're talking of, what is your impression of trade overall?
Yeah, trade's interesting right now. Like, to give you like the TLDR, the things I've been talking about a lot, making videos on lately, it's really amazing. If you're a sweaty tryhard like me, you can get anything you want for almost nothing, and sometimes actually nothing, for free, 0 gold, getting like LP items. If you're not a sweaty tryhard and can't get yourself to rank 7 fairly quickly, it's awful. You can't buy anything that you need. Yeah, it's just terrible.
Yeah.
You can sell it to me, though. You can sell all those great things to me. I'll buy them. You probably will sell them for cheap because most people can't get them. There's no demand for them. And then I'll be like super rich and have an insanely powerful character.
They did reduce the drop rates by 30% across the board for release, right?
Correct.
Which means that if you're a trade and you're not using it, really, what happens is you're just screwed. You don't get anything.
Yeah, you get less. Like stuff still drops for sure. It's not like the craziest thing as far as like the drop rate reduction, but most people, once they get to end game, the goal is to get exalted items and then get items with legendary potential, because it's not that hard to get those things. You start getting exalted around level 58, and then monolith and legendary potential stuff drops from like what, level 1 technically. So that's the kind of the chase. That's the fun stuff. Well, unfortunately right now with MG, you can't buy that stuff until rank 7, rank 8. And as an example, or to kind of display how bad this can be, I got rank 8 at level 98. So that was probably what 30, 35 hours, maybe a little bit more of gameplay for me, the sweaty tryhard who's playing an extremely fast build and can play efficiently. So for the average player, that might be 50, 60, even 70 hours before they even see the ability to trade for exalted items outside of like weapons.
Yeah. To be fair, it was basically the same. People told me it's harder to level in trade, but it was the same for me. I reached it around about level 98, rank 8. But I guess the rank 8 is not as important on SSF. You already get big spikes early. Like you start getting exalted items pretty frequently, starting with like rank 4 or something. But yeah, that's a big deal. So you have to trade in order to get XP and rank up, right? Like monsters alone are not going to carry you.
Yeah, you have to either trade or you have to use the gambler and the bazaar. So you want to spend your favor. You get double XP for the favor you spend. So that's good, but even doing that, you still basically end up at level 98 before you buy that stuff.
Okay. That sucks. I guess what was stuff you liked about it?
I like the convenience of it. It's the ability to buy like really insane items is very real there. Some of this is probably market efficiency with players who are new, don't know what they're doing, and are also getting bamboozled by thinking that they should put up stuff for 0 gold to get their reputation because they think they have to sell the item, not just list the item. But
wait. You only have to list it?
You only have to list it. You do not have to sell it. Yeah, this is getting a lot of people because of a bug that is causing. Yeah, it's causing the reputation increase to not update until the next action you've had. So you have to either list another item, sell another item, or leave the area, and then it updates. But as soon as you list it, the reputation goes up and your favor cost is spent.
Wait, that's crazy. I didn't know that. That is...
Yeah, most people don't. That's why they're listing like crazy 1 LP, even 2 LP items for 0 gold just so they can list the item to get their favor spent and the reputation up because they think they need to actually sell it.
That's funny. I mean, that's kind of... I guess in SSF, the only thing you can do wrong is saving up all their favor instead of like using it on prophecies because they're like, oh, I'm just going to save it until I'm rank 10 and then I'm going to spend it all on the double prophecies. But yeah, it's the same thing. You have to... Oh god, I got kicked. Wait. LE 100. We just hit the LE 100.
100 now. That's a new one.
Yeah. Timed out due to inactivity. Nice. While the loading screen. Oh god. Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Okay. So how was the trading itself? Like the trading interface and interacting with it. Was it more annoying than you thought? Was it better than you thought?
It was what I thought for selling, which is you just go over to wherever you want. Like you want rings, you go over to the ring vendor. And then you click on the ring vendor and you interact with it, find the thing you want, and you buy it. That's fine, and it works pretty well. On selling, I had not done like bulk selling before. Like wasn't a whole lot of things to sell on the CT, whatever. So I hadn't done a lot of that. I very quickly realized that having to go over to every single vendor when I have 40 or 50 items that are all different types to figure out what the prices are so that I can list them appropriately is an absolute pain in the ass and very low quality of life. And this is exactly what's going to cause third-party trading sites to pop up, which is what EHG doesn't want.
I mean, maybe there's going to be like overlays like in PoE, Awaken PoE Trade or something, or like price checking.
I believe there absolutely will be, but EHG has stated they don't want you to have to go to third-party sites, so this is exactly how you get third-party sites. Like that whole meme. Like this is how that's what's going to happen if they don't fix that.
I mean, they're going to fix it, right? I think the same thing with loot filters,
hope so. Yeah, I would. I think some of it though, they want some friction in it, and I think this is part of the friction, but it's just not. It's not the kind of friction I think you want.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing because they try that in PoE as well with the friction, and it definitely avoids bots and stuff like that. But in LE, you don't really need that at all because you already have the fact that you can't resell, so you can't flip, right? So that is kind of already gone. So I don't know if there's even any reason for friction.
I think friction is kind of an overused concept in ARPGs. We've gotten devs have kind of gotten this impression that like you need a lot of it. I think there are certain cases where it does make sense, where you do want a little bit of friction. You don't want it to be too easy. Certainly, like the idea of like getting gear, and if you don't want to get it all at once, you want some friction in that system, right? You want it to be a progressive thing, but friction for friction's sake, I think, is kind of a mistake that some games are making, and this one may not be any different. It's got some scenarios where they just think that you need friction for friction's sake, and I would like to see that kind of start to go away in the genre.
I guess in a genre that has so much quality of life and has just wants to be as fluid as possible, so you can just play the same content over and over, you want to have kind of friction to not make it a spreadsheet, right? Make it actually still a game. That's like the hard part to kind of balance. But yeah, I know where you're coming from. I get that. Do you regret going trade, or would you go trade again?
Oh no, I don't regret it at all. It was a lot of fun to go, especially with like the Wild West that it is currently, and experiencing that. That was exactly why I wanted to go trade first, because I wanted to see what that was going to look like at the very beginning in a game that's never had it before, and also is mechanically kind of unique to other trading games.
Yeah.
So I don't regret it at all. I'm happy I did it. But I don't know if I would main trading at this point, or if I would just main CoF. Like the CoF grind, I feel like, is probably going to be a little bit more satisfying doing it on your own, not buying stupid, crazy, cheap stuff that's, you know, extremely powerful. For some of that will depend on how the market, you know, plays out. Maybe it stabilizes more and stuff is more reasonable. But if it was like this, if it stayed like this, I would probably go more CoF.
I think it's actually insane for content creators as well. It's like you don't have as much freedom, but out of that can also come a lot of inspiration, right? And like creativity, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to rely even more on crafting and, you know, actually making the right strategy to find the gear that you need. There's definitely a lot more going on there for that.
Yeah. So I guess talking about Circle of Fortune, I wrote down some stuff. Definitely a pro is the prophecies are crazy. Those are so nice. I'm currently rank 9. I'm going to hit rank 10 soon, and it is already great to target farm, and you just get loot explosions all the time, which is a lot more fun. Target farming with prophecies, especially Weaver's Will items. I don't know if you know about the Weaver's Will prophecies.
No, I was actually going to ask you what are some of the really cool prophecies you've seen, because some of the higher level stuff got in after I had a chance to test it.
Yeah, so the coolest prophecy I've seen yet is there's a prophecy that has, it's kind of hard to see actually, because it has a body armor symbol, which is usually, I don't know, targeting body armors. So most people don't even hover over it, but it says Weaver's Will, and it has either, early on it gives you 8 Weaver's Will minimum, and later it gives you 16. What people don't know is it's not always 16, it can go higher. It's minimum 16.
16 plus, that is awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, so highest I've gotten so far is 19, but I haven't gone super crazy yet. I've probably bought like 20 or 30 of them. So I'm pretty sure you can crack, I don't know how often you get 20 plus. It's like, I know it's like super, super rare. And also important to know, I guess, is shields are in the offhand prophecies, but they still count towards the Weaver's Will in the armor section. So you can still get them from the Weaver's Will in the armor section. So
interesting.
I was just farming cradles all day, basically. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's really, really fun. And then idols are also, I'm assuming that in endgame, I'm probably just gonna farm the stout idols, right? Just over and over.
Yeah, to get those double healths.
The amount of exalted items you get is so crazy. Like if I had to guesstimate from before release, it's probably times 15 or something. So if we count in the 30% less loot, it's probably like times 20 or something.
That's crazy.
The amount of exalted items is just ridiculous. And I haven't even pushed corruption much. I'm only like 400. So the amount of double and triple exalted items are just gonna go crazy. I have all tier 6s hidden other than like hybrid health and hybrid attack speed crit on bows and some plus freeze. That's all I have enabled on tier 6s. At some point, I'm gonna have to also, I don't know, filter for tier 7s and whatnot. It's getting way too absurd.
That is crazy. Yeah, we haven't done on the exalted, but on the idols, we actually changed our filter rules for CoF to not show any idols that weren't for your build, because we knew it was just gonna be an entire multiple screens of idols if we didn't.
Yep. And also, if you play a new character, now it's so easy with favor to just stock up immediately. Like if you need, I don't know, you go fire raves or something, it's like it's gonna take literally an hour, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the best thing about the idol, I mean, you probably already know this, but I'm still gonna say it. The idol target farming is you can actually target farm which idol. So it says like adorned idol or stout idol or whatever, and you can actually get exactly those, which is super cool. Lenses, also great. I still don't know what like the GG lens setup is. It's probably always gonna involve the one where you get double loot. Just so you don't have to complete it twice or something, but I don't really know. The one strat people have told me that I haven't really done yet is to complete them in dungeons only, because in dungeons, completing them, the prophecies is super, super quick. And in monos, you might have to run like a lot of different monos, right? So, yeah.
Oh no, so the meta is actually running dungeons over and over again?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the meta yet. This is what people have told me, basically. You just go into the dungeon, you complete like 1 or 2 dungeons, and it's just going to rain. You do the lens that blocks all mono, and you do the lens that blocks all arena. You just roll for dungeons. Then you do all 3 dungeons, and you basically can complete almost all your prophecies over and over.
That's crazy. I don't know if you know this, but I actually kind of hate dungeons. So that's a little disappointing for me.
Well,
I don't want to run them.
It's more like, ooh, I actually got in. It's more just for completing prophecies. I think that's like a rank 10 strat, right? Like, it's not about doing the prophecies. It's just, yeah. The one thing I can imagine, though, which I don't know if you maybe know this. So there's like an LP scaling now with monos, right? So if you complete it in monos, it should count as being dropped there, which means they should have more chance for LP than if I drop them in dungeons, right? So there might be a downside running in dungeons.
Oh, you mean like the corruption scaling?
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's really low. I think it goes up to like some slate number, like 8% more. Is it 14?
I thought 14, yeah.
Maybe it's 14. Yeah, so it's a pretty small number. So if you can run them even 14 times faster on dungeons, it sounds like it'd still probably be better.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's like 3 times or 4 times as fast. Yeah. So, okay, this is like a PoE background, obviously, but it's just nice not having to think about pricing items at all. Just farming. It's just, in PoE, I mean, the game is not made for that, and you can't really. You only get penalized by being SSF in PoE, obviously. So getting something for being SSF has felt extremely good. Also, I don't have to think about the economy at all, which makes me appreciate the farming process more, I guess, which is a big thing.
I was gonna say, I think there's something definitely to that, like having to go in and sell all my stuff. The first few times is kind of fun. The 100th time, I don't think it's gonna be very fun. Going and finding cool prophecies, I think that's a pretty fun experience. And I do think that's an area where CoF has a significant advantage.
Yeah. Like I said, I think a lot of the CoF advantage is also psychological, in a sense, not necessarily just efficiency. And at the end of the day, what are we playing for, right? It's like, sure, you want to gear out your character and stuff, but if you can do it stress-free, that's, I think, a big deal, right? So,
agree.
The extra mats are really nice, but also I don't know if you probably know this, but the 35% chance to double your reward from monos actually also doubles the XP books, which is
oh, that's crazy.
It was pretty crazy. So yeah, going from 98 to 100 was actually extremely easy. Just literally you just stack up books. Every book is 0.5% XP, even at 99. So yeah, that was absurd.
So racing then CoF definitely the meta leveling strat.
Yeah, that is that is pretty sure. I guess downsides I have here is like, number one is the filter. If you are not into making your own filters, you're gonna get destroyed, right? You can take the actual filters, sure, but if you are on CoF and you have a very specific taste, obviously everybody kind of does, you'll have to engage with that. Otherwise, you're just gonna be hovering over items for minutes, right?
Yeah, this is something we've been talking about a bit with the actual filters, because we intentionally designed them to not be too strict, because we don't want to assume what players are going to want to not see, and then have them not see stuff that they wanted.
Yeah.
But that does require the player to engage with those filters, and I think a lot of players, we haven't done a good job of expressing that to them and making it clear, hey guys, you're going to want to do some stuff with this as your gear gets going. Here's the guide on how to do that. And so, yeah, even for MG, you want to do that, but for CoF especially, you really, really want to do that.
I guess the big problem is also that you can't really do that. Like, we talked about loot filters forever in the PoE section, and we were like, there's no way we can update these. I mean, obviously, there's different stuff involved here where NeverSync can just update a tier or something, and all of a sudden the filters could be kind of influenced. But just updating that every single league is going to be an absolute nightmare. How the hell did you guys even get to? I mean, I guess you guys have to provide something, but...
Yeah, right now we're kind of limited in choices. There's no really good universal loot filter system out there that we consider to be strong enough to do. If there was one, and we could offload that to that loot filter system, that would be ideal. But right now, if we were to not show loot filters, we would get absolutely hammered by people.
Yeah.
I get asked about loot filters all the time now, even with them on there, because people don't see it. If we didn't actually have them, it would just be constant loot filter, loot filter, loot filter, loot filter. So yeah, that was a decision we made out of necessity, not out of convenience.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot of work for us to maintain those loot filters, but it's just what we kind of have to do at the moment.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Can you tell me in trade, is it easy to get 3 LP of the uniques that you want?
It's pretty easy to get 3 LP, yeah.
Depending
on the uniques. A lot of the ones I need, 3 LP is extremely rare. I'm going to be able to get them. I've seen lit market listings for at least several of them, but I've got 2 LP of everything that I'm wearing with like really good affixes on them. Like I've got all my low life setup is all 2LP. I've got a 2LP cleaver solution. I've only got a 1LP smoke weaver, but the 2LP ones are very expensive right now because people are actually realizing that smoke weaver is expensive. Probably because I bought a whole bunch of $100,000 ones because I just tried to slam a bunch of in them because people were listing them so low. So like, oh, like that actually sells for a lot, so I should actually make that a lot more expensive. So probably my fault, or at least partially. But it's going to be really easy to eventually get like even the 3LP stuff on all these items. Some of the stuff won't be 4LP viable because it's so insanely low drop rate. You won't be able to see it, but it's extremely easy. I even have a 2LP Twisted Heart already. I have a 2LP. Damn. Everything but Smoke Weaver I have is 2LP with really good stats and tier 7 move speed, all that shit.
Especially with the boss uniques that are just going to get farmed over and over just accidentally. You're going to see 2LP Wings of Argentus and stuff like that, right? You're just... It's going to happen. Yeah.
Eventually. But 1LP Wings, I don't think are going to be all that expensive in the near future. Right now, they're pretty expensive, but as people are constantly farming that for their own wings or for the idol or just for whatever, it's going to go down in cost. The ones that are like farmed a lot naturally, like Reign of Dragons for your blessing, those ones are just going to be really cheap.
So obviously I don't have the double prophecies yet, so I don't know how big of a deal it will be, but getting 3 LPs is kind of rough on SSF. But then again, I would argue this. I would say that the exalted items on SSF are on average so much better that even 2 LP might be competitive with 3 LP most of the time, unless you hit the perfect on 3 LP. So I'll put that caveat in, but yeah, getting 3 LP is a pain right now.
I do wonder if CoF will ultimately have the advantage on the Exalted side and not on the LP side.
Yeah.
Where you can get, double tier 7s apparently fairly regularly, I'm hearing.
Yes. So I've seen people drop several double tier 7 with tier 6. But obviously it's still super random because you need the right mods, yeah.
Yeah, we're not seeing that on the market. I've seen a few double Exalteds, not double tier 7s.
Yeah.
One of them's one I put on there, so like I've seen a very small number of those so far. So that definitely could be an area where the CoF bonuses just make it easier to find those items. But over time, I do wonder as players can play more and more and get to higher corruption, more people are empowered, if that will even out as well.
We'll see, because people can also target farm exalted items on prophecies. I feel like there are certain item types that you find exalted nodes for in monos and some that you don't. For example, exalted gloves I don't really see in monos at all, right? And now you can literally just target farm them. Since that's now possible, once you get away from idle farming, once you get away from LP farming, I think you're probably going to drop 100 times more exalted items than on trade, maybe even more, right?
It's crazy.
And then on top of that, you also have the tier 7 affixes are twice as common, right? And stuff like that. I feel like the bottleneck is really just going to be 3 LP uniques. That is the biggest advantage that the trade has, or potentially even 4 LP.
Yeah, that does seem like the area where trade is going to just, the crowdsourcing is going to cause a lot more of those things to exist on the market.
Yeah. And in terms of market, the exalted item market wasn't that good. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Right now it's pretty slow.
I think people
I also do wonder, they might be hoarding because they can't buy them themselves. They might just not understand the value of those. It's a lot harder for a new player to understand the value of an exalted item versus a unique where you can just like look up what builds use a unique. There could be a lot of that as well. And also because a lot of players aren't really at the deeper end game right now. They've either haven't been playing, to that extent, or they just haven't been able to log in because, it's been kind of hard to do that. That might just be a function of not enough people up there actually getting the Exalteds to drop, because you really don't see double Exalts before you get into Empowered Monoliths.
I think a problem is also the pricing, right? Like, how do you know what to price it at and try to like price check exalted items from what you've said so far is probably a nightmare, right?
Oh yeah, and some crazy stuff happening on that too. For example, rare katanas are very expensive right now, much more expensive than even really powerful exalteds. I've seen a really powerful tier 6 minion dodge ring with a minion affix on the ring, like the implicit. That thing should be like an insane amount of money, 0 gold, but I can sell a katana that's kind of shitty for 500,000.
What the?
Yeah, it's the Wild West, man. It's crazy. People can buy the katana. They can't buy the exalted item, and they don't know it's worth.
Do you feel like in terms of stash tabs, so I feel like I'm never running out. I feel like both are fine for getting your stash tabs, right? Because on trade, you can argue you can just trade forever and get all your stash tabs. You have so much gold. But on CoF, you could also argue that while you can trade for gold, you don't have any other gold outlet anyways. It's not like you're gonna run dungeons or something. But do you think the gold situation is good on both? How is it on? Has it been annoying to spend gold on trade at all?
It hasn't. I actually think there's probably an advantage there for trade, which is I'm offloading items. I'm not just keeping everything. If the item is not good for me and I'm not going to use it anytime soon, I'm going to sell it. Whereas in CoF, I might hold on to that item because maybe later I will want to use that item on a different character, maybe, a month down the road.
Yeah.
So that's a big advantage. You don't need as many tabs in MG as you need in CoF, weirdly enough.
Okay, that's big. Yeah, that's definitely true. I also like hoarding, so maybe SSF or Circle of Fortune is just for me then, yeah.
I like it too when I'm playing not trades. Like that, I've got a lot of stash tabs, on just like pre 1.0.
Yeah.
But like on trade doesn't make sense to hoard because it's like gold you're not getting for your current character.
Yeah. I also feel like they might have to rebalance the gold dungeon at one point. What was it? Lightless Arbor. They might have to rebalance what drops from there. I guess it's still really good for glyphs, but it's looking a little bit dire on all the other rewards. I can't see myself ever spending any gold there right now.
Yeah, as a CoF, I could definitely see that not being valuable. I do wonder on MG as inflation starts to hit, because the cost of that dungeon doesn't change. There's no inflation on that dungeon. So as items get more expensive, is it worth spending 5 million gold in there to maybe make 25, 30, whatever amount of gold that you're going to get back on the items that you can sell?
Yeah, I don't know if inflation is a problem though, because you spend gold and you also can't resell. So I wonder if that's even going to be an issue in a non-flip economy. But maybe.
You can't. It might be in some ways potentially worse. We'll see, because you can't reflip, but the gold doesn't go away unless you do something like Lightless Arbor. There's not a lot of gold sinks in the game.
Fair.
There's
and then there's the just getting pushed around. Yeah.
Yeah. So the gold continues to rise. The items, availability doesn't. So the scarcity.
Oh, that's what you're saying. No, you're actually right. You're right on that.
Yeah.
How has mats been in terms of trade? Has it been annoying, or are you just like, I'm not crafting much anyways because I'm just buying 3 LP items?
I do quite a bit of crafting. I've actually started trying to craft on items I'm going to sell and see if I can get like a better affix, because there are certain affixes I've noticed that players like gravitate towards. If it's got that affix on it, it's worth way more gold to them. So I have done a little bit of that. I haven't found it to be particularly challenging, but I'm also someone who knows exactly how to get the items or the crafting materials I need, where to get them. So that might be just an advantage that I have as someone who's got a lot of knowledge.
I guess one more thing that I have to say with the prophecies is it's annoying to farm. At least somebody said that earlier, and I can definitely see how that's true. It's annoying to target farm certain weapon prophecies because there's so many, so you have to reroll so much to find them in the thingy. That's like a pretty big deal apparently. I guess one more topic was, is there a reason to have one character on CoF and one on Merchants Guild? Because somebody earlier said they're farming mats on their CoF character. I don't know if that's like worth doing or anything like that. Have you heard anything about that?
I haven't heard that becoming like a strat that people think is like a meta strat. It takes so much to get a character going and getting your factions up. That you definitely can. You can get mats for as your MG character in your CoF, and there's definitely bonuses for that. I'll be interested to see on that one if that actually starts to bear out as a legitimate strategy over a longer period of time on a cycle.
Okay. Sounds good.
I don't think it'll do you much good for like the first week though.
Yeah. So I guess on a closing note, if you had any improvements to make on trade, what would be like your, I guess, maybe 3 biggest pain points right now?
Yeah, great question. The first thing is definitely rank 7 and rank 8 need to be easier to acquire. I think rank 8 should come online around level 80, because that's a fairly realistic place for casuals to get to within a decent amount of time. They're still not gonna get there super fast, but they can get there, and it's like a chase for them to actually get to 80. It makes sense. It's actually kind of rewarding versus something they're never gonna get to. That's the first thing that I would do. The second thing I would do is create on the selling section, the buying's fine, but the selling section, that UI needs to allow you to price check every item in the game. It cannot be that I have to go to the ring vendor and then to the Tuned Axe vendor and then to the chest vendor and then to the helmet vendor and then to the catalyst vendor to sell all my items. It's just crazy. Do I have a third one? Let's see. Let's add this one. Make it more clear to players that they do not need to sell their items on the bazaar to get their faction reputation. They just need to list it.
For us, I mean, if you hover over the XP bar, you can already see what gives you favor. So that doesn't show up that well on the Merchants Guild. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's not really any way to know. There would be if it updated like immediately, it would be clear that you got it if you looked. Like if you looked at your favor from listing, pre-listing and then post-listing. But a lot of players aren't even going to do that. They're just going to, do whatever everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
So there should be something on there that says, when you list an item, your favor is spent, you can't get it back, and you get your reputation immediately.
Yeah.
You don't need to sell it.
That sounds good. I guess the only potential solution I would have to the first point you said would be maybe to stagger the ability to buy LP items, like maybe start at like 5 and it's like, okay, you can buy LP1, then you can buy LP2, LP3, something like that maybe.
Yeah, that could also work. Just something to give them access to the items that they want around the time they start to want them. It shouldn't take them, 40 more hours, 50 more hours before they can actually buy those items that they're already farming in the game.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, overall, I'm actually really surprised. I thought the auction house would be a lot more janky, but what I've seen from people, it's for a release auction house is actually serviceable, honestly.
It's definitely serviceable. It works really well on buying, and then selling. It just really needs to have a universal place to do it. I have a question from chat if you want to answer it on COF.
Yeah.
McMagic wants to know your thoughts on having to find COF tagged items to use Ascendance on. Because to get that bonus, apparently you only get it on COF tagged items.
So my take is that is completely useless because you're shitting out so many uniques on prophecies that I don't even engage with that. That's my take. I don't know if that's other people's takes as well.
Oh, interesting. So the Ascendance benefit you don't even think is really valuable?
I don't even think it's worth opening your crafting inventory and doing the clicking. In that time, I can already far more favor. That's my
interesting.
That's my opinion right now. I think that's like the number 2 reward, right? The rank 2 reward. I think it's mostly useless, but maybe there's applications that I don't understand yet. But that's so far been my experience. Cool stuff, man. So where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch at LoneStar_McFluffin, and you can find me on YouTube at McFluffin Gaming.
All right, dude. Yeah, thank you so much for giving your take. I'm definitely gonna try some trade as well. I don't know if it's going to be this league or next league. I'm really enjoying COF so far. Are you gonna try some COF next, or are you gonna stay in trade?
Yeah, my next character is gonna be COF, and I'm thinking I might go hardcore COF.
Hell yeah, man. Okay, sounds fun. All right, thank you for the talk. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, thank you, man. It was great.
Yeah,
a lot of fun.
See you around, man. Bye bye.
Later, dude.